federal government has now scrapped the 2022 National Language Policy restoring English as the official language of instruction from primary to tertiary education across Nigeria. Education Minister Dr. Tijani Alaus announced the reversal at the Language in Education International Conference in Abuja, saying the mother tongue policy had destroyed the learning system and contributed to students' poor performance in national exams. He cited ministry research showing that pupils taught exclusively in local languages often advance through school without acquiring basic literacy and numeracy skills. Children graduate to JSS or SS level and fail WAEC, JAMB, and NECO, he said. Alausa noted that Nigeria's linguistic diversity made implementation impractical, with some states using multiple local languages that teachers themselves do not speak. This diversity requires a unified approach to language instruction, he explained. The scrap 2022 policy aimed to promote indigenous languages and cultural preservation, but struggled with material shortages, teachers' training gaps, and limited coverage. At the conference, British Council Country Director Donna McGowan said the forum would help improve English proficiency and explore how language supports inclusion and better learning outcomes across Africa and beyond. When you go to China, when you see footballers, when they're trying to do their interviews, most of them stick, basically sportsmen, let's use sportsmen. When someone wins something at the Olympics and he or she's been interviewed, you find out that most of them use their local languages and they usually have an interpreter. And that does not exclude the fact that they can actually speak English, but they will rather lean towards their indigenous language. When you look at that holistically, what are your thoughts on this report?
Well, I'm all for cultural preservation. We have a lot of languages in Nigeria that are technically now considered dead languages because...
What do you mean dead languages?
They no longer have a native speaker. When a language no longer has a native speaker, it is considered a dead language. And it's unfortunate that's what we have.
Can you reference me to one of those languages that are currently dead?
Okay, Nigerian examples, I'm struggling to, because I think there are some languages here in River State, some remote communities. We try to do something. What are those languages? Okay, but the most popular would be Latin.
Okay.
The most popular in the world, let's leave Nigeria, is Latin. Latin is considered a dead language. The Catholic Church still, at least across Rome, they still employ Latin, but there are no native speakers. People have to learn it from books and things of that nature. And it's starting to happen here in Nigeria. So I understand the need for cultural preservation, but when it comes across, WAEC is something that's written across Africa, West African Examination Council. Your students will obviously be at a disadvantage because when it comes to a lot of languages, there are certain languages that don't have English substitutes. So when students come across these words in exams, what is this? I don't know what this is. Like, okay, say in Igbo now, there's no word for computer. So what the spelling is now is Komputa. They just try to pigeonize the spelling of computer, and that's how it's used in Igbo. So when it comes to these exams, your students will obviously be at a disadvantage. It's the same with a lot of Nigerian languages. There are words that have no direct correlation in English. But so what happens when your student sees this thing in an exam? They don't know what to do with it. That is the reason for, because they said they cited data as part of their reason for the statements they made about reverting back to English.
Right.
So yes, we want to preserve our culture, but we also have to understand that we are competing globally. If it's a case where the language is taught, it can be taught, yes, all well and good. But if that has now become the language where every other course or subject is being taught in, it's putting you at a disadvantage. Yes, they can take up the language as a subject in itself, as a curriculum in itself. But when you now make all other subjects, because most of where do you even find teachers that have these languages or that know these languages and are willing to teach in this language? Because now you're converting notes from whatever source you are, because we still use the British curriculum in a lot of our schools. You're converting these notes, these textbooks, these study materials into that language first, before you can now enter a class and begin to teach. So the effort it takes, And then when you consider what our teachers are paid, which is virtually peanuts, but that's a topic for another day, the effort it takes to do that, you can't convince a lot of people that it's worth it. Then citing the fact that they are at a disadvantage because a lot of times, like I've stated, a lot of words don't have direct substitutes. People have something close to, fair enough, but there is no direct substitute.
Right.
So your students get into the hall, people across Africa are writing it in a language that it is already in. So they are automatically at an advantage. They see the word, they know, okay, this is what this means, this is what this is. They've answered that question. But how do you expect the child that doesn't even know what it is to answer such a question? So that's the reason for the failure. So I guess preserving our culture is important. But everything we're doing, we're competing on a global scale. We need to keep that in mind. It's not just about Nigeria and preserving. We're competing. Our students are competing on a global scale. If you say you want to get rid of foreign-based exams or national exams like that, and make the exams regionalized or nationalized, then you might have better results because now you're setting the questions. You're putting words that have direct correlations.
Right.
But it remains to be seen. I mean, English has been the way it has been for a while now. That's the most spoken language in the world.
Right.
It's the language everybody is able to converse in. If you cannot converse in, there's a translator that will help you converse in it. So yes, we should preserve our culture. Yes, we should speak our language as much as this. But when it comes to education, when it comes to standardized national and regional and African exams, your students will obviously be at a disadvantage.
Thank you.